New York-based real estate broker Ryan Serhant, 38, has closed $5 billion in deals over 14 years. The reality TV star rose to fame on $1 Million Listing New York as an agent to the wealthy. He broke down a typical day, from a 4:30 a.m. wake-up to phone calls from his chauffeured Escalade. Ryan Serhant is disciplined, down to the minute. The 38-year-old, silver-haired broker has been in the real estate game for 14 years and has transacted over $5 billion in sales. He rises daily at 4:30 a.m. to beat the competition and sticks to a regimented daily schedule that he said helps him maximize what he can achieve in a day. The saying may go, we all have the same amount of hours in a day as Beyonce, but if we retrofit that phrase for the real estate set, we all have the same amount of hours in a day, as Ryan Serhant makes the point, too. My goal is to beat everybody, Serhant said. We all have the same amount of hours in the day, I just want more of them. The celebrity real estate broker, who rose to fame as an original cast member of Bravo TV's $1 Million Listing New York and still appears on the show, has built a reputation that garners him some seriously impressive listings. Case in point, Serhant is preparing to list a residence in Midtown Manhattan, near Central Park, which he said will be the most expensive listing in the history of New York City, with a price tag north of $200 million. Serhant's eponymous, media-forward brokerage launched in 2020 and includes an in-house production studio for video walkthroughs and is beta testing its own metaverse, called Universe, to act as a virtual meeting place for agents across the country. The brokerage, which currently has a footing in the New York, Long Island, Hamptons, and South Florida markets, is approaching its second birthday and is on track to transact $2 billion in sales this year. Serhant said he's eyeing a global takeover in the company's third year. Between growing the brokerage, representing buyers and sellers, appearing on $1 Million Listing New York, and showing up for his wife of 6 years, Emilia, and their 3-year-old daughter, Zena, Serhant's schedule is jam-packed. Hey, race what the media-savvy broker gets done in a day. Serhant wakes up at 4:30 a.m. in his Brooklyn brownstone. It's a habit he's had since the early days of $1 Million Listing New York. It's not something he wants to do, but Serhant said he does it because my career depends upon it. He looks through emails and news that happened overnight and catches up on anything he might need to know before the markets open. He heads to a gym nearby, where he works out with a trainer for an hour and a half. It was heavyweights day, Serhant said, working the entire back of his body. I scale my entire life through other people, Serhant said. So especially that early, I need somebody to yell at me. Serhant also has a home gym, which he opts to use on days he focuses on cardio. He heads for home to shower and dress for the day. If it's a massive office meeting day, it'll be a little bit more cash. If it's a lot of big meetings, I'm suit and tie always, he said. Serhant heads out the door, kisses his wife Emilia and 3-year-old daughter Zena, and says goodbye to his mother-in-law Despina, who's lived with the Serhants since Emilia was pregnant. Serhant poses with his wife Emilia and daughter Zena at home in Brooklyn. Serhant's driver, Yuri, who he's worked with for 10 years, is waiting out front in Serhant's stretch Escalade. He gets a new one every year just to update it, though he said he makes sure his car and clothes are never nicer than his clients'. And I always want them to feel special, he said. Yuri has my schedule already and he knows exactly where to go, Serhant said. He makes calls from the back seat. Serhant's first appointment is at a penthouse in a building he declined to name in Midtown Manhattan, along Central Park. His company is going to list it after Labor Day. It's going to be the most expensive listing in the history of New York City. I've never seen anything like it, Serhant said, adding that the residents will seek over $200 million. He and his team talk about the visuals for the listing and how they'll stage it. He makes sure he's in the car again for a 9 a.m. call. I try to be as prompt on my calendar as I possibly can. Every single minute is important to me, he said. Serhant worked at Nest Seekers for more than a decade before striking out on his own. He talks to the press for an hour about the company's progress and where it's headed. He also answers emails on his phone. A lot of my life is answer emails, answer texts, answer the phone, he said. Serhant heads to a pre-war co-op building on 5th Avenue where he's preparing to list a penthouse for $25 million. He and his team shoot a video tour of the 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom residence with terraces overlooking the treetops of Central Park. Serhant's YouTube page is a visual buffet of eye-popping real estate walkthrough videos. He hops back in the car and heads downtown to a townhouse he just sold for $8 million at 73 Washington Place in Manhattan's Greenwich Village neighborhood. He meets with the buyer, who had closed the Friday before but wasn't present at the closing table. Ever the professional, Serhant adds, "I wanted to shake his hand personally and give them a little closing gift and say, thank you so much." The townhouse had been on the market with a handful of different brokerages for several years. Serhant arrives at his office in Soho and answers as many emails as he can before his next meeting at noon. He then sits down with the brokerage's education team to do member calls, reaching out to agents in the firm's extended education network, which has reached over 12,000 agents in 110 countries who have done cool sales or had cool wins that week to encourage them. Serhant gets back in the car to head to a new development in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. It takes him half an hour to get there from his office. Serhant at the Huron, a forthcoming condominium development in Brooklyn. You do the math on how much time you actually spend commuting and not working and realize how much you're actually spending to commute. Not like in gas dollars, but in time dollars, Serhant said, justifying his use of a private car and driver. You'll figure out a way to fix that real quick. Serhant meets with his brokerage's director of new development, Jen Elise, and the developer of the 171-unit Greenpoint project, where prices will range from $675,000 for a studio to upwards of $5 million for a 4-bedroom, to discuss where the model apartments will be for prospective buyers to experience the property. They settle on a unit along the water with outdoor space lower in the building, so when we take people upstairs to the unit with outdoor space, they get extra excited. More meetings back at the office. Serhant meets with the Chief Technology Officer, Ryan Serhant, to discuss Universe, the metaverse that the brokerage is building out as a hub for agents across the country. Serhant moves conference rooms for the team's marketing meeting. The brokerage is coming up on its 2-year anniversary. Year 3 is, for me, global takeover, Serhant said. Serhant is a co-owner of a Major League Pickleball team with former NFL quarterback Drew Brees and Jim Buss, a co-owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. On a call, the owners talk about a handful of things like social media campaigns, how players are doing, and make a few trades. The call's over and Serhant heads into new agent interviews. When agents get to interview round 2 at the firm, they get to meet with Serhant. The end of the meetings, at 6 p.m., also coincides with the end of Serhant's eating period. He's a firm believer in intermittent fasting. The eating window opened at 2 p.m. I've done it for 4 years now, and the general consensus is that it's okay to be consciously hungry, Serhant said. Serhant approaches real estate with a certain flair. Most people eat when they think they're hungry, not when they actually should be eating. You're putting too much gas in the car that already has gas, and all of the ideas about balanced breakfast, after workout you have to have proteins, you've got to do all of this, is all marketing. None of it is real, the king of real estate marketing said. Serhant's back in the car heading for home, taking calls and sending emails. My deal with my wife is 1 night a week we have a date night. 2 nights a week I have to get home before 9 p.m. to put the baby to bed and give her a bath and play with her. So yesterday was Ryan has to get home to uphold his marriage agreement with his wife for fear of certain death, Serhant joked. He and Zena walk to a nearby park but find it's closed for maintenance. They play tag all the way back home. Zena is given a bath when they get home and gets put in bed. She wanted me to read the Shimmer and Shine book last night, so I had to go find it in her colossal bookshelf of children's books, Serhant said. It literally took more time to find that book than it did to do anything else throughout the day. When I finally found it, it was like finding gold, he said. Zena's asleep, so Serhant heads down to his home office and works on getting his inbox to 0 for the day. The easiest way to stay on top of your goals is to actually do them every day, he noted. He prepares for the next day's showings, meetings, and phone calls, too. Emilia arrives home after dinner with friends. They chat about schools for Zena and a trip to London they're planning. Serhant's head hits the pillow,